So let's do a few calculations. Calculations are always necessary when we're doing this type of work. I'm going to keep them fairly simple. Hopefully you'll understand what we're talking about here. So you have a question. You improve your gas mileage from 15 miles per gallon to 17 miles per gallon. What was the percent increase in miles? All right, so we're going to do this in terms of 2 is the difference between that 15 to 17. So we have a 2 mile per hour increase from our 15. So this is the change over the value, right? Over the value. And so I take 2 divided by 15 and I get a 0.13. I multiply it by 100 and you get 13% for that value. So if we do the same thing, if we take the 35 miles per gallon to 37 miles per gallon, I'm going to say that this is equal to 2, once again at the top, miles per gallon, and 35 at the bottom, miles per gallon, times 100, and you end up with about 5.7% is your change in mileage, percent change increase in MPG. So we think about that. So if you tell people to get a 2, you want them to get a 2 mile per gallon increase, percentages are a lot different. It's 13% versus 5%, 5.7%. So it's a function of where they're starting at with their mileage. If you do the same thing and say, I want a percent increase, so everybody, I want a 10% increase in mileage, that would be more reasonable, but the 10% increase will be a lot less for this car. So 10% increase, so 15 miles per gallon, and you want a 10% increase times 0.1, you're going to get a 1.5 mile per gallon change, right? Mile per gallon change. If you do a 35 miles per gallon times 0.1, a 10% increase, you're going to end up with a increase of 3.5 miles per gallon. So if you're talking about a percentage increase, you're going to be changing the miles per gallon significantly more with the higher MPG cars. So here's another question. You're driving your car, you switch from your rabbit starts and stops to something else, some more passive driving, and you end up with a 5% increase in your mileage, MPGs. Your car originally got 20 miles per gallon, and you drive about 10,000 miles per year. So how much gas will you save each year if you do this change? We're all about money and about saving fuel. So how much gas will you change by this 5% increase in miles per gallon? Okay, first off, what we're looking for, once again, how much gas will you save each year? So I want gallons per year. That is my final answer. Remember? That's what we're looking for. And what I know is that I am traveling, because I want gallons per year, I know that I'm traveling 10,000 miles per year. So I get the year on the bottom, year and year. Now I'm saying, well, I also know that I'm getting 20 miles per gallon, right? Before I make the change, I'm getting 20 miles per gallon. So I want to get gallons on the top. So 20 miles per gallon. So now this miles will cancel the miles on the bottom, and I can do this math, and I get 500 gallons per year. If this is how I'm driving, I'm getting 500 gallons. I'm needing to purchase 500 gallons of gas per year with that 20 miles per hour or 20 miles per gallon vehicle. So what is this in terms of this increase? So I'm going to say my 20 MPG times, this is that 5% increase, so 5 divided by 100, 5%, gives me a 1 mile per gallon increase. And hopefully you can do this math. So 1 mile per gallon, so my 20 miles per gallon, and I add that 1 mile per gallon increase, and I'm at 21 miles per gallon. So I made a switch. So I can do the same calculation over again, 10,000 miles per year, driving this year, and my unit conversion is 21 or my known value is 21 miles per gallon. So I do the math because I'm still getting that gallons per year. And my math tells me I'm getting 476 gallons per year now that I have to buy. So the difference is about 24 gallons per year because of my 5% increase. Do you get that? 24 comes from 500 that I was buying before to now I'm buying 476 gallons of gas. All right, so now I'm at 24 gallons saved of gasoline per year. You can multiply that out, and it's $2 a gallon or $4 a gallon. You can get the value of that gas savings. Try another one. Let's look at a car that gets 20 miles per gallon. We're trying to see how much CO2 is given off per mile of driving. All right, pounds of CO2 given off per mile of driving. All right, so what I'm trying to get is pounds of CO2, CO2 per mile. Right, so get the final results. The units on the final result help a lot. So we can say that what we do know is that we're getting 20 miles per gallon. Now, where do I do the 20? If I put the 20 up here, if I put 20 miles per gallon here, I have a problem because my miles is down here and this miles is up here. I really want miles in the bottom, so I'm going to erase that, say that was a mistake. I'm going to go 20 miles per gallon, per 1 gallon, right? The other thing that I know, it's 19 pounds of CO2 emissions per gallon. So I see a gallon up on top. I don't see a gallon over here, so I really need to get rid of that. So I'm going to say gallons on the bottom and CO2 on the top, 19 pounds CO2. So I'm going to do this math. 19 divided by 20, and I get, which is about 0.95 pounds of CO2 per mile. Now I can add on to this and say we're usually doing grams, right? So 0.95 pounds of CO2 per mile, 0.95 pounds per mile. And then I say I know that there are 454 grams per pound. So pound cancels, now I get grams of CO2 per mile. So I look at my calculator and I say .95 times 454, and I get 431 grams CO2 per mile. Make sense? So thank you for your time with this lesson. A lot of good information here. So much to learn, so little time. BBE 2201 at umn.edu. Thank you.